Hello, and thank you for joining me here again at Trinity's Parable, the Christian bookstore in Petrolia, Ontario. Now today I want to talk a little bit about liberty. So that's the ability to control one's own actions. And I find that nowadays people's liberty is always on the go. It's on the rush. They don't have time for Christianity. They don't have time for faith or something to believe in. And so I've been doing a little bit of looking into that, and I came across this most beautiful statue. It's located up on a hill looking over Plymouth Rock in the States. And it's also surrounded by residential. You can walk 20 feet from the statue and you're on somebody's driveway. It's absolutely beautiful. Now they call this, they call it the Matrix of Liberty. Now this is the most beautiful statue. It's 180 tons of solid granite. It's the largest granite statue in America as of right now. It was made 130 years ago, and it was designed to remind people of what liberty stands for. How that if you lose your way, how you can find it back again, how you can get liberty back into your life. It's a proven system. It's actually the only time in history, they say, that these steps have given pure and true liberty. Now people nowadays try everything they can to get back to that liberty, to get back to that ability to be in control, to have the faith, to have the belief system that they want. But something's not quite right. We haven't quite mastered it. And I think if we go back to this statue and take a look at it and really break it apart, we can get back to what the foundation of liberty really is. So it's a beautiful statue, and it's of a woman, and her name is Faith. It says so right underneath her feet. So her name is Faith, and she is standing erect, and she's pointing to the heavens. She's pointing to God, Christ the Lord. And she knows that in her heart, the faith of liberty, so she puts all her faith into the one God and His Word, the Bible, which she has under her other arm. Now the pages of the Bible have been fanned open, so it looks as if she's just finished reading it. She's proclaiming the Lord of the faith. She's accepting His Word as truth into her soul, into her life. And for that, she is giving the star of knowledge. So on her forehead, she has a star, the star of knowledge, because she's taken that word, she's taken that faith, and she's going to live it, she's going to practice it. She's given homage to it. She's pointing to the Lord, saying that's the reason for her belief. Now around her feet, she's raised up, and around her feet are 4 large statues as well. Not as large as her, but a quarter of her size around her. Now on the sides of those 4 statues are smaller statues, about a fourth of those size. So we're looking at about an eighth of the size. It's absolutely beautiful. I do recommend you go onto Google, go onto YouTube, and look up the Matrix of Victory. It is an absolutely beautiful statue. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the statue. So the first thing you need to do is go to the smaller statue, and the first one is called Morality. Now this is a young woman portrayed in the statue, and if you look very closely at her, her eyes are closed. And her eyes are closed because she's looking internally. She's looking at her soul and her heart, and she's seeing her true core values, her true core belief system, and she's internalizing it, and she's accepting it, and she's having the transformation of her heart. So that's what they say, that in order to get this true liberty, you need to have a pure heart. You need to have that transformation of knowing God, of accepting God, and of loving God. And once you have that inner transformation of your heart, it will take place on your external. So take care of your internal first, and that will come through into your external lives. Now, if you look at her, you can go to her side. So on her little sides of her, she has an evangelicus. Sorry, I had to think of that. I lost it back there. And in his hand, he's holding a Bible and a scripture, a scroll of scripture. And so what that is symbolizing is that she has to take in his knowledge, take in the readings of the Bible, take in the evangelicus teachings into her heart. That's what's going to open her heart to having the transformation, which in turn will come outwards. So that first one, like I said, is morality. You move to the next statue, and this is the statue of law. Now this statue is of a gentleman. He has a law book in one hand and like a gavel in the other hand. And what he represents is that yes, religion is there, but there is law to it. There is structure to it. There is rules that you must obey, and that there is consequences for breaking those laws. However, there is also mercy, and God is all about mercy. So it's showing you that there is consequences that you need to be aware of, but that there is also mercy and divine forgiveness, and forgiveness of others as well as forgiveness for yourself. Now his side statues, there's the lady holding the scale of justice, just saying the good to the evil, that you need to take responsibility for knowing the difference between the good and the evil. So that is the law statue. So that brings us to the next one, which is education. Now the education statue I think is very beautiful. It kind of touches my heart a little bit closely. Being a mother and also being the youth minister at my church. What this lady is, she's about 25 years old, and in her hand she has the Bible again. She has the Ten Commandments in her left hand, and she has the scroll of Revelation in the second hand. And what this statue represents is teaching of knowledge. She has taken the knowledge, she's sitting upright, she's smiling, she's very proper, and she's taking the knowledge that she's known and she's passed it along to her children. It's a beautiful idea to know that you have passed on all that you can to raise your children the way that they're supposed to be brought up. I think it's a beautiful message. Now on the sides of her side statues, I'll tell you about both of them on her. One is of her holding a young boy's hand, and she again has the textbook, and the little boy is holding a scroll that he has been working on. So it's just showing that the parents, it represents the mother and the father, are responsible for teaching their children the ways of religion, the ways of true happiness, of joy, of sharing the scriptures with them, so that they in turn can pass it on to their children, guaranteeing a long procession of faith-bearing families. On the other side of her is a grandfather figure, and in his hands are down, pointing down, and one is to the globe and one is to a Bible. And it's showing that the grandfather, although the mother and the father are the true teachers, the grandparents and other generations also contribute to the upbringing of these children. And his wealth of knowledge, being a senior of living the world, is able to teach the children the importance of what religion does in the world. So I think that's a beautiful thing. It's showing the different generations combining to that education, to that knowledge of that young person, guaranteeing the future ahead. Now the last statue is actually the Liberty statue. They call him the Liberty Man. And he's not some young, weak, religious speaker. He's a strong warrior. He's muscular. He's fit. He almost looks like he's wearing a Roman military outfit. He's very proud, and he's at the edge of his seat, and he's just robust. He's a beautiful image, very strong and powerful. And in one hand, he has a sword. And in the other hand, he's holding a broken chain with a broken clasp, shackle on the bottom, as if he was enslaved, as if he had chains that he has broken free. That would explain the expression on his face, how he's so proud that he's overcome this victory to have this liberty. And he knows it, and he's willing to share it, but the sword shows us that he's also willing to defend it, that he's willing to fight if need be. He doesn't want to, but he would be willing to defend that to the bitter end. Now his side statues have him, Victory Man, with his sword up high, stepping on the chest of another man, which is supposed to represent tyranny. So he is now holding tyranny down. He's free, he is liberated, holding tyranny down with his foot. He is a free soul. Now on the main statue of Victory Man, he has a lion's skin draped over his shoulders. So it's also showing that he's overcome the beast that was trying to hold him down, that was trying to repress him. So it's a very strong, beautiful segment. Now what this whole monument stands for is those 4 key elements: morality, law, education, and victory have to work together in order to come up to that main source, faith. Thank you so much for joining us. Please leave me your comment and join us here again next week. I post a new video every Wednesday. Join us on Facebook, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Have a great day.